Module 4, Lesson 3 deals with comparing and ordering integers. According to our lesson information, the objective is students will compare and order integers using a number line. That sounds pretty simple. The suggested pacing claims this will be a 90-minute or 2-day lesson, but we will see how it goes because once again, that just doesn't sound like a very complex concept to me, but who knows what the textbook's going to do to us. All right, I've highlighted my lesson heading, compare and order integers, because that does need to go for your notes. In a golf game, in a game of golf, par is the number of strokes that the golfer is expected to take in completing a hole. The total score for a round of golf is given in relation to the par. A negative score indicates under par, which means the golfer did better than what was expected, and that a positive score indicates that the golfer is above par, so they use more strokes than were expected. So this is the case where being above par, that's actually a bad thing. It means you stink. It means you can't play golf very well. So if your golfing is above par, you're using too many strokes to get the ball into the hole. At the end of the round, the golfer with the lowest score ends up winning. Suppose the golfer's scores are 2, -1, 3, 0, -1, -2, 1, and 3. The golfer wants to write the scores in order from greatest to least. What are some things you would need to know to take into consideration before writing these scores? These are some of the things we're going to learn about in this lesson. To compare integers, you can compare the signs as well as the magnitude or the size of the numbers. If the signs are different, the positive number will always be greater than the negative number. Positive numbers or positive integers are graphed to the right of 0, while negative integers are going to be graphed to the left of zeros. That looks like some important stuff, so let's go ahead and highlight that for our notes. And then we're going to move through the slides to compare integers with different signs. So we're going to compare +2 and -3. And as we go through the slides, we're going to see that the signs are different. So compare the signs. Yeah, okay, sure. The positive integer is always going to be greater than the negative integer. Therefore, 2 is going to be greater than -3. That's not a very difficult concept. I would hope that by the time you all arrived in 6th grade, you would have figured that a positive number is going to be bigger than a negative number. Let's keep moving. Now we're going to look at -2 and -3, and this time it's not going to be quite so obvious. Now they say to use a number line to compare, so are they going to give us a number line? Yes, they are. And you can see on the number line that -2 is farther to the right than the -3 is. On the number line, whatever number is going to be further to the right, that's going to be your bigger number. So -2 is going to be a larger number than the -3 is. So on your inequality right here, your alligator is going to eat the -2 and not pay any attention to that -3. Justin has a score of -5 on the Trueville trivia game. You all can see Sharu just jumped into the picture here. You need some cuddle time. Desiree's score is a -3. Write an inequality to compare the scores and then explain what it means. And it says, how can you compare two negative numbers? Well, the best way to think about doing that is going to be to use a number line. So part A, they say write an inequality, graph the integers on a number line, and that's exactly what we are going to do. The instructions say select the point button on the graph to graph -3 and -5 on the number line, and then check our work. So we're going to scroll down. Here's the point button. So I'm going to take and add a -3. Figure out how to turn this on. There we go. And then we're going to change a color, and we're going to add a -5 and check our answers, and it is correct. So we have graphed -3 and we have graphed -5 on the number line. So which one of those numbers is going to be farther to the right? that's going to be negative 3. Negative 3 is farther to the right, so that is going to be our bigger number. So in our inequality, we're going to say that negative 3 is going to be eaten by the alligator, while negative 5 is going to be ignored. Really easy stuff here. Now part B wants us to explain the meaning of the inequality. Since negative 3 is greater than negative 5, we would say that Justin or Desiree has a greater score. I don't remember the problem. So let's say show the problem. Justin had the negative 5. Desiree had the negative 3. Therefore, Desiree is going to have the greater score because, oh, just totally knocked down my microphone. But she will have the greater score because her score is further to the right. Easy math. Anybody can do this stuff. Now they ask, what is another way you could write an inequality comparing negative 3 and negative 5 and explain why it's also true? The answer is flip it. So let me go back and show you. Where we'd had negative 3 is greater than negative 5, you could have written negative 5 is less than negative 3, and that would have given you the same exact answer. Now it's going to be your turn. Take a minute, pause the video, answer the questions here. You have 1, 2, looks like 2 questions you need to answer. The temperature on Tuesday was negative 2 degrees Fahrenheit. The temperature on Wednesday was negative 5 degrees Fahrenheit. Write an inequality to compare the temperatures. And they gave you negative 2 as first. So is negative 2 going to be bigger or smaller than negative 5? The answer, of course, is going to be bigger. So the alligator is going to eat the negative 2. And then it says explain the meaning. The temperature was warmer on Tuesday than it was on Wednesday. Tuesday was a higher number, so yes of these. That one checks, and that one checks. Easy math. Anybody can do this stuff. Next, we're going to learn to order sets of integers. This looks like a simple 2-slide lesson, and it says you can use a number line to order a set of integers from least to greatest, or from greatest to least. Watch the animation to see how you can use a number line to order these sets. So while I sit here and cuddle Sharu, you guys watch the video.
You can use a number line to help order a set of integers. Order the set of integers from least to greatest. To begin, graph the integers on the number line. Start with negative 8. 3, negative 1, 0, and 6. Now, use the number line to write the integers in order from least to greatest. The numbers increase in value from left to right on the number line. So the order is negative 8, negative 1, 0, 3, 6. You can also write the integers in order from greatest to least. The numbers decrease in value from right to left on the number line. So the order is 6, 3, 0, negative 1, negative 8.
All right, time to put Sharu down. That was a pretty simple video. I think y'all can handle this. So how does a number line help you to organize sets of integers? It gives you a good visual representation of how they could go from least to greatest or greatest to least. It lines everything up, makes it simple. I think we are now going to get a chance to do exactly that on a number line. It says the table shows the lowest accessible elevations for several continents. Order the continents from least to greatest according to the lowest elevation. And they have Antarctica, Australia, North America, and South America. And of course, these are all negative numbers, which means that those are elevations that are below sea level. It says to use buttons, yada, 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 yada. So we're going to take and make a graph of this information. So the first one, Antarctica, is going to be negative 50. So here we go. We're going to take it negative 50 and boop, put one right there. Next one is going to be negative 15 for Australia. We're going to take Australia and make that gold because I like Australia, or that may be an orange color for y'all. North America is going to be negative 86. So we're going to take and change the color to green for North America. That's going to be negative 85. We'll say about right there, negative 86. And then finally, a negative 105 for South America. So let's make that one another color. Let's go into darkness here. Negative 105 for South America. Check our graph. I think the check button is hiding here someplace. Well, it doesn't appear we have a check button, but we can now take and use the information we had and go from least to greatest. South America, of course, is going to be the least, and pay attention that it does say least to greatest there. North America is going to be the next least because that was our green one, and then after that it is going to be Antarctica, followed by Australia, going from least to greatest. Check our answers. Everything checks. And now it's going to be your turn. Once it gets loaded here, you pause the video, work through it, and you get to order your own glorious set of data here comparing the lowest temperature in Fahrenheit in Kate's town last week. I think Kate needs to move. I really do. There's no reason to live anywhere that goes negative 18 degrees. No, not going to happen. So did you work it? This is pretty simple. The instructions say to drag them from least to greatest, so my least numbers can be negative 18, and then a negative 9, and then a negative 7, a negative 6, a 0, a 2, and a 3, and of course it could help to add those up on a number line. Our answers check. Easy math. Nothing to do on this stuff. Next, we want to learn to distinguish absolute value from order. You know how to order numbers when you see them on a horizontal number line. The values increase as they move to the right, and the values decrease as they move to the left. What happens to the absolute value or magnitude, meaning how big the number is, of the numbers as the values increase or decrease? Since the absolute value is the distance the number is from 0, the absolute value increases the further the number is going to be from 0. Move through the slide to learn about absolute value. Now remember, the answer to an absolute value problem is always what? It's always positive. So, next it shows that the value increases. As the value increases of a positive number, as the value of a positive number increases, its absolute value is going to increase. Good. Next, they're going to say as the value of the value of a negative number decreases, what's going to happen to its absolute value? Its absolute value is also going to increase, because all absolute value is a measurement from how far that number is from 0. Suppose Kaito, I don't know, and Ember are scuba diving. Kaito dove 25 feet below sea level. This can be represented by the integer negative 25. Ember dove 30 feet below sea level. This can be indicated by the integer negative 30. Who reached the greater depth? Well, we know that negative 25 is going to be greater than negative 30. You see that right here. But this does not mean that Kato's depth was greater. In fact, when the other girl, Ember, is going to be going for a greater depth. When determining who reached the greater depth, you need to consider the magnitude, also known as the size of the numbers, also known as the absolute value of the numbers, not just their placement on the number line. The absolute value of the number takes into account the number's magnitude. And now we get to move through some steps to figure out how that's going to work. So the absolute value of negative 30 is going to be what? Well, that's going to be 30. So let's take and check that. That one checked. Next, the absolute value of negative 25, what's that going to be? Well, that's going to be a positive 25. That one checks as well. Which absolute value is greater? 30 is greater than 25, and therefore the absolute value of negative 30 is going to be greater than the absolute value of negative 25, because what you're looking here is actually 30 is greater than 25, and that is a true statement. We're going to end this video right here. Come back to watch part 2 so you can get the rest of your lesson on this really exciting topic about ordering integers.